We know their priority this summer is central midfield. Elliot Anderson has been linked. West Ham's Mateus Fernandes, a realistic deal that they're exploring as well. We know the Portuguese midfielder went for an initial fee of £38 million to West Ham last summer, but they're expected to want a lot more if he's going to move to Old Trafford or anyone else, particularly after the relegation to the Championship. But it seems like they're in no rush to sell unless they get the money that he's worth, but it's obviously going to be difficult. £80 million has been mentioned, Sam, for Fernandes. What do you reckon? Too high? I know you love your too high, too low.
Well,
about right.
Remember last week I said I was going to retire my catchphrase of 10 million too much?
Yes.
Where I only retired for 1 week. It's coming back. This is at least £10 million too much. But like, it's just, we're just getting so normalised to the idea of £80 million being thrown around as like a standard fee. 70, 80 million. Last summer everyone was 50 to 65. Are we really staring down the barrel here off the back of Gordon and potentially a few others of normalising a 75 to 80 million pound fee? It's just so much money. And then you see the other clubs across Europe scratching around for a 20 million euro deal or something. It's absolutely remarkable. But look, Mateus Fernandes he's got 3 strong seasons under his belt at Chavs on loan from Sporting, and then he went to Southampton, and now he's gone to West Ham. And he's still only 21 years of age. He's a really good footballer, like a proper all-round midfielder. So I kind of get it. Like, there's a lot of longevity to this deal. He's still extremely young, and yes, experience for 21, but grand scheme, there's still a lot left to give. So if you are going to put big money down and you are looking to invest in someone, then I guess this is kind of the right zone. But yeah, it's always weird, isn't it, when you see a player who just got relegated get linked to an £80 million move. Not that that was Mateus' fault at all.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester United fans will be excited by the potential acquisition, but you've heard the CEO, Omar Barada, speaking about trying to be really disciplined in this window. So if 80 million is 10 million or more too much for Fernandes, can you see Manchester United going that high?
I can see them going that high, yeah. I think they haven't been shy about spending big money on players. I mean, I think like it's a more, to follow on from Sam's point, there's a more kind of general point. Like a lot of the decisions these clubs are facing, United, or any Premier League club really, is whether you pay the Premier League premium. I mean, I know Fernandes is about to be a Championship player, but you are paying an enormous premium because he has done it in the Premier League for a period of time, and he can do it. But I'm sure there are, if you are a smart club, I'm sure you could find a equivalent to Fernandes in France or Germany or anywhere else who costs a third of the fee or half the fee. It's the same thing I'm thinking about Spurs of Van Hecke. You are paying a huge premium, presumably, because he's done it in the Premier League.
It is a difficult step these days, though, isn't it? From other leagues into the Premier. I mean, it's always been a step, but like these days, it really does feel like a big step. So that's why so many of these clubs have decided to pay that premium. Like last season, there were 9 deals of £50 million or more between Premier League clubs. Right. Semenyo became the 9th one in January, and if I made that a very arbitrary 50 million, but drop that down a little bit, you bring in Madueke, you bring in a bunch of other players as well. So it's happening all over the shop, right? These clubs have all basically in unison gone, it's worth paying the premium. So I'm following the breadcrumbs there, and I get it. Mateus Fernandes, though, 2 years ago, Southampton bought him for like £15 million. So there are probably players like that out there. Dan, you're right, but it's about whether or not you want to take that risk.
Sam, what a few weeks it's been for Ederson. He's agreed this move to Manchester United, subject to a medical, but he's now been called up to the Brazil's World Cup squad to replace Wesley, who got injured. Now, we know he still does have to pass that medical, but it's all been agreed. And I guess Manchester United fans are going to be watching the Brazil games from behind their sofa, hoping that he doesn't suffer some kind of injury. Like they've seen that before with Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, it'd be interesting to see him. Presumably he's not going to pay too much because he's a very late call-up, so he's not exactly in the plan. Yeah. I mean, Casemiro and Fabinho are ahead of him in the pecking order here, who are both in their mid-30s now. One's going to MLS and one plays in Saudi Arabia. So that's not a comment on Ederson, but like, he's not in the plan here, so probably don't expect too much from him during the World Cup. But yeah, you'd just be hoping he doesn't get injured, because the fans generally have become very excited to welcome him because it's been forecast for 2 weeks now.
Elliot Anderson, we were talking about him just before, but Manchester United, one of the clubs mentioned with regards to Anderson, but is there any chance they could beat City to his signing, do you think? It seems like a tall order.
Yeah, I think my gut is that he's going to City. It feels like that one's been kind of in the works for a while. I think, I'm sure United would love to have Elliot Anderson. I think any club in the Premier League would. And it would be an enormous statement if they could somehow scupper that deal. Because I think they've beaten City to players in the past. I think Casemiro was linked to City, wasn't he, before he joined United?
Fred was as well.
But it's it's different signing a player who's potentially one of the best all-round midfielders in English football, and is going to clearly be a mainstay in the England team, sort of barring injury for years to come. That would be a bit of a statement, but it feels like City have been working on that deal, and they're generally pretty good, Man City, at kind of closing out deals that they've had their eye on for a while.
Well, Adam Wharton's the other name that's been mentioned with regards to if Manchester United miss out on Anderson, they could go for Adam Wharton at Crystal Palace. I mean, Liverpool also in the conversation there with Adam Wharton. Clearly, Thomas Tuchel thinks that Elliot Anderson's a better player than Adam Wharton, because that's who he selected in his England sides. But I mean, he's a great player, Wharton, isn't he? So I always think I know people who watch football regularly know he's good, but I always feel he's a little bit underrated and undervalued in some ways.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the England thing. Well, I'm not surprised. I get it. I don't think it's necessarily about who Thomas Tuchel thinks is a good player or not. It's about who he thinks is going to be right for his team and the squad and the conditions. And he's kind of said as much. I'm sure he thinks that Trent is a better footballer, on paper than, say, Jed Spence, but Spence is more suited to what he wants to do, and that's why he's called him up. And I kind of feel like it's similar with Wharton. Like, I think he's a great footballer, and I think England have obviously traditionally lacked that player who just passes for the sake of passes and can keep the ball and can open things up. And but Anderson's a lot more dynamic. He's more physical,
and he can just keep
more
the ball.
Robust. Yeah. Again, fair point. He can do that as well. But I think Wharton. Well, I think Wharton would be a great signing for almost any top club, really.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he can just slot into a side and make it tick and make it better. And with the greatest respect to Palace, who have had two dreamy seasons, I think he's kind of outgrown that environment now.
Obviously, a few years ago, you looked at this, you thought World Cup 2026, Jadon Sancho front and centre in this England squad. Obviously, nowhere near it. This is a player who still remains the fourth most expensive signing Manchester United has ever made. He's going to be released on a free now.
Yeah, well,
how do you explain any of this?
He started at United in 2021, I think, and he just missed his penalty at the Euros, and he never recovered mentally and physically. He turned up at United, he wasn't quite in the shape they expected, and he just couldn't kick on from there. I think the pressure of being at United, the big fee, he never ever got over it. People at United have told me that he was really fragile after the Euros, and he just never kind of got into it. And obviously, he had his fallout without Ten Hag. He had a few other issues that he couldn't get over, and he's, as a player, he's just completely flatlined and gone backwards, hasn't he?
Some of those boys actually were basically abused
pilloried
off the back of the Euros by just morons, because anybody can miss penalties. And I suppose we don't know it affects individuals. Bukayo Saka, for example, has, brushed himself down, and he was a teenager at the time, and he's I think Jadon Sancho probably was. But he sort of got on with it and accelerated and built his career, but sometimes it does affect certain players more than others. Then maybe you make a move that's not the right move for you, i.e. Manchester United, and sometimes that can happen. But there's so I'm... Look.
Well, when they signed him, right, I was told this as well, when they signed him to play on the left of a front three. And then they realised that was Marcus Rashford's favourite position, so he never actually played in the position they signed him for.
Right.
They put him on the right. So nothing really worked for Sancho at United. And
but then Chelsea, Villa, nothing happened there.
No, but I think by that point, he'd had 2 or 3 years where he's just not really kicked on, and I think he's lost that momentum. I don't know, what is he now, 25, 26?
Is this the Dele Alli scenario where it's gone down? I know he's had some mental health issues, but he struggled. But he at one point was this phenomenal goal-scoring midfielder, and then he sort of fell off that cliff a little bit, and it's very difficult
to get it back.
To get it back, very difficult.
The point to mention for me is the fact you've mentioned there, Mark, is 25 years of age. if he was like 4 or 5 years further down the road, I'd be saying this is finished for him completely. And even though he's lost that spark, lost that magic now,
It's been 4 years, hasn't it? 4 or 5 years.
It's been 4 or 5 years, but he's literally in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
If he was older, I think I'd have more concerns for him. But it's not to say that he can't find some sort of spark going forward now. And it might not necessarily be one of those bright lights that say at Old Trafford and places like that. But he seems to be a person where when he's enjoying his football, he plays his best football. And now as a free agent, he's probably going to have more free reign to be able to decide where that's going to be.
Could you see him going to somewhere like, for example, Newcastle have sold Anthony Gordon, goes there on a free transfer?
I think
it's an incentivised.
I think he wants to go back to Germany.
Yeah, I think he'll
right. I think it's a better league. I think we've seen a lot of English players that go over there and do well, and I think he enjoys that league more. He's familiar with it. The money might be an issue, but he's out of his contract now, so he's not going to get the same sort of money he got at United because he's a free agent. But I think the Premier League is just, I think it's too much for him.
You mentioned Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Back after his loan spell at Barcelona. Gordon's come in, mucked up any thought of hope, I imagine, of going there permanently.
Yeah,
what's going to happen to him?
Well, the situation there is that Barcelona have got until the 15th of June to tell United whether they want to keep him or not. And United, I've been told, still haven't been contacted by Barcelona to say what is going to happen. Now, it seems as though Barcelona are edging away from Rashford. It's a relatively inexpensive deal to do 30 million euros. And apparently the final decision will be left to Hansi Flick. But basically the deadline is next Monday. And if Barcelona don't want him, they'll be back at United for pre-season training. Now, the issue there is, one issue that people have told me at United is that they've got 3 targets this summer, 2 midfielders and a left-sided forward. Now, a left-sided forward is Marcus Rashford. We just spoke about keeping Jadon Sancho out of the team. So if Michael Carrick is pragmatic enough to take him back, I think he probably is. But all the noise I've been getting from the Rashford end is that he doesn't want to go back. He's 29 in October.
Yeah.
He's had so many kind of ups and downs at United. He's gone to Barcelona, won La Liga. Doesn't want to go back to United, and you can understand that. So if he doesn't want to go back, it's going to be hard for United to rehabilitate him, especially when there's so much, I'd say, animosity from a lot of the fans. They just don't like Marcus Rashford anymore. So
and he had an impact at Barca, yeah.
He did, yeah. So United would probably
scored some great goals.
They could be stronger with him back in the team, but I just think, that there's so much going on.
I think he's a much more as an all-rounder. I think he's a more talented player for me than Anthony Gordon.
And he's got a manager now at United, if he goes back, that will probably understand him more than Ruben Amorim did or Ten Hag did. Rashford doesn't react well to disciplinarian coaches. Michael Carrick has been there, done it. He knows what it takes to be a Man United player. He might just have the key to unlock the door.
I could see him doing well under Carrick.
Yeah, I can as well.
A guy who's more just interested in the basics and, not overcomplicating it, and basically just saying, right, we've got a structure to the team. You go out, all right, you have a duty when we don't have the ball to work hard and do the job, but go out and express yourself, which is kind of what Hansi Flick has allowed all his Barcelona players to do. And Rashford at times, he flourished. Oh yeah, Rafinha was injured and he came in, but he scored some great goals. Some very good goals. So I could see him going back and having an impact in that team, but if he doesn't want that,
maybe that could change.
Difficult.
If Michael Carrick sits him down, and I don't know if Michael Carrick wants him back, but I think he's that kind of character that would not rule it out.
Right.
I think you'd see a player that is very talented, and if you want a left-sided forward, are you going to get a left-sided forward this summer that's better than Marcus Rashford? Possibly, but it could cost you 70, 80 million pounds.
Last word to you, Nathan.
I was going to say this is one of Carrick's probably biggest decisions because I think the ones that he's made so far in terms of changing the formation, putting Bruno Fernandes further up, bringing in Kobe Mainoo, these are things that have naturally fit and worked quite well for him. But now, if he's to bring in Rashford, he could think about what he can offer to his team, but how does it affect the fan base? And I think my other point as well is from a Barcelona perspective, why would they not choose Rashford over an Anthony Gordon for the price that's being paid for Anthony Gordon? For me, if Rashford is literally going to be 50 million euros less,
yeah, absolutely,
it seems like it's a no-brainer, especially somebody that's been in the building, understands the philosophy, understands, and you can see has worked well with that team. And I don't know what that reason is, but it just feels strange, doesn't sit right with me.
But for Mateus Fernandes, there is also Manchester United. Manchester United are in official contact with the agent of the player. Manchester United already started the conversation with the agent to start preparing a bid to West Ham. So Man United are for sure in conversations with Mateus Fernandes. So we have to take this into consideration, then to see how other clubs will react, because there are more clubs, not only Man United, not only Real Madrid. So it's going to be an interesting race for sure. Then, to mention more for this busy day, in the last 24 hours, and don't forget what I told you in the last video, and I maintain also now, another situation to watch in the next days and weeks is going to be Sandro Tonali. Around Tonali, there are movements, there are clubs interested, there are things happening, and my understanding is that Tonali could really leave Newcastle in this summer transfer window. So get ready for that, get ready for all the rest here on the channel as every single day. Remember guys, to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel and let me know your